We are, of course, amidst a brave new world of technology, one where nearly every practical problem has been solved, and the industry has pivoted to a never-ending search for more problems to solve.
I need more problems!
Problems that don't exist. They're just finding new ones. And no evolution in technology represents this wasteful, pointless endeavor more than artificial intelligence, or just AI, which is obviously just a catch-all for everything related to artificial intelligence, from the boring stuff that's been silently helping us for years, to the slop served up by chatbots and image generators. It's a weird balance, because when some issues arise, you could see the potential for AI being used, before ultimately realizing that in most cases, the product is once again solving a problem that doesn't exist. Take, for instance, the elusive, perfect AI lawyer. In the months since the spread of chatbots in particular, we've seen AI mess things up for real lawyers in court cases where they trusted the bot to come up with arguments based on cases that, whoops, didn't even exist. Now, one guy, however, recently decided to take things a step further, and we promise you that it only gets weirder from that.
So Jerome DeWald decided to seek representation where no one in their right mind would think to look. Not just a lawyer who uses chatbots to argue cases, a lawyer who is entirely AI. Not just that, Mr. DeWald got an AI avatar that attempted to look exactly like him so that he can represent him in a lawsuit that he himself initiated. Apparently, in order to show everyone how cool his little startup is.
Yeah.
And how it's going to change the world by giving a voice to the voiceless.
Yeah, it appears as though he initiated a lawsuit so that he could have his own AI lawyer represent him in that lawsuit, seemingly wasting everyone's time. And that is how the judges react.
Yeah, this was a test case, a test legal case. First of all, he couldn't pull off an avatar that looked just like him in time for the court appearance, so he just went with some generic dude named Jim.
Just the standard template of an AI avatar.
Yeah. Either way, the judge in the case did not think that it was very cool and immediately chastised the guy for his little stunt. Here's the register.
The avatar, its appearance and voice created by software, appeared on behalf of Jerome DeWald, the plaintiff in an employment dispute with insurance firm Mass Mutual Metro New York, at a March 26th hearing before the U.S. State Supreme Court's Appellate Division. During oral arguments, DeWald asked for a video to be played depicting a man in a V-neck sweater to the five-judge panel. The video opened. "Now may it please the court, I come here today a humble pro se before a panel of 5 distinguished justices." A pro se being someone representing themselves. And I'll be the courtroom in this scenario, and we're just going to kind of play out how this went when this guy just started playing a video of an AI lawyer. Here's the courtroom. Confused by the unknown speaker, one of the judges, Associate Justice Sally Manzanet Daniels, immediately interrupted to ask who was addressing the court. Hold on, is that counsel for the case?
"Oh, that? I generated that," replied DeWald, who was physically sitting before the panel of judges in the hearing.
"I'm sorry," the judge said.
"I generated that," DeWald reiterated. "That is not a real person."
"Okay," the judge snapped. "It would have been nice to know that when you made your application. You did not tell me that, sir."
They go on to explain that DeWald claimed to have been dealing with an ailment that prevented him from speaking, so he simply had to use the AI avatar of himself to represent himself, and the fact that he's the founder of the startup that creates these things. That's just a big coincidence.
Yeah, obviously you're all going to be asking questions about the company that I started.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Were you impressed by it? Because, baby, I need a lot of money. Not too many people investing in startups right now.
So yeah, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? I mean, you wouldn't tell a guy without a voice to shut up, would you?
Yeah, that would be offensive.
Except he does have a voice. He apparently spoke with the courtroom just fine on previous occasions, probably because he hadn't worked out all the kinks yet.
Yeah, just wait. I'm going to give you a little bit of an argument now, just a preview.
Yeah.
But if we could please delay a little bit. I got something cooking.
Well, you judges weren't into that, but your kids are going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
The article continues with a response from the judge.
"You have appeared before this court and been able to testify verbally in the past," Judge Manzanet Daniels continued. "You have gone to my clerk's office and held verbal conversations with our staff for over 30 minutes. I don't appreciate being misled. So either you are suffering from an ailment that prevents you from being able to articulate, or you don't. You are not going to use this courtroom as a launch for your business, sir. If you want to have oral argument time, you may stand up and give it to me. So in our interview with the Register this week, DeWald said, I asked the court for permission in advance, and they gave it to me. So they were not unprepared to have the presentation. They were unprepared to see an artificially generated image. And they were very impressed. So impressed they halted.
Loved it.
They halted the proceedings.
Yeah.
So apparently this guy had, to his credit, or so he says, had throat cancer 25 years ago. And he says it affects his ability to speak at length, which I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
But as we mentioned, he's apparently been just fine in previous appearances, speaking at length to those officials.
You didn't see all the RICO laws he was popping, though.
Mm-hmm.
This solves that.
Yeah, so also it clearly reeks of a guy with an AI lawyer startup filing a lawsuit and then using whatever means necessary to debut his self-representing avatar to the public.
I feel like we saw this case a few years back. I believe it was donotpay.org, the website that primarily, like, when it started out, it was just a lot of like useful like legal tools, and then the guy who runs the site got a little ahead of himself and tried to like actually argue a case. His idea was to like have a chatbot speaking into like an AirPod in his ear.
Taking it in and then analyzing it and giving it back something to say.
And the judges, they were just like, absolutely fucking not. Are you serious? Like, the law is not a joke.
Well, this appeared to be like a pre-taped thing, which, like, what argument could you even make? And also, this is a problem. I can see the logic. People who can't afford lawyers with vast amounts of knowledge and time to research the cases that are relevant to theirs, paying a cheaper fee for that. But that's not how it works. It's going to fuck up. And if you actually are suffering from a debilitating issue that makes it so you can't speak, that is what a lawyer is for.
Yeah, but lawyers are expensive.
Yeah.
I get the problem he's trying to solve here, but also lawyers are expensive because they have years of expertise and experience arguing cases in a court of law.
And this guy brought the case too, so it's not like he... Yeah. Anyways, it's only made all the better by the fact that no one in the courtroom was just having any of it. They were, please, sir. And his own startup, self-admittedly, kind of sucks. He couldn't finish his own avatar of himself in time, and he apparently kept fucking up the prompts trying to get everything perfect. Meanwhile, some smokestack somewhere is just billowing toxic fumes as this guy frantically tries to beg a computer to work for him via text.
Cool. DeWald explained that the process of creating an avatar to appear in court involves providing Tavis a 2 to 4 minute video of the subject talking, plus a 1 minute segment that shows the subject standing still. That material is used to generate the subject's digital replica, a process that takes about 2 to 4 hours. He ended up using a default avatar called Jim, rather than one of himself, though. On my basic plan, I only get 3 replicas a month to generate, DeWald said, so I was trying to be conservative. I tried one, it failed after about 6 hours. I tried another one, it failed after about 8 hours. And by the time we were getting ready for the hearing, I still didn't have my own replica.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
So I just used one of their stock replicas, that big, beautiful hunk of a guy that they called Jim. What?
I'm now believing that this guy's had conversations with Jim off the record.
Me and Jim, we're best buds.
Yeah, he knows me inside and out.
Yes, he does. So Jim only got a few words out before the judge shut him down. So none of this mattered. And it also sounds like business is far from booming for Mr. DeWald. Asked whether the court's reaction gave him pause about the viability of AI applications in legal matters, DeWald said, I don't know, but the technology has changed so quickly. You know, my site, we get a fair number of views, but we really don't get much business out of it.
Yeah. Turns out
more of a curiosity than anything.
People think I'm weird. Yeah, people come visit. They're looky-loos. Nobody's buying anything.
Oh, an AI lawyer. Well, I'm not going to be using that, but very cool. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Glad you're here, I guess. Actually not, because as you explained, hours of computations were happening for failed attempts that are just
all led to nothing.
Just lakes, rivers, and oceans cooling giant towers down so this guy can make an avatar of himself.
Yeah, it's these woke judges. They stand in the way of progress.
That's right. Yeah, they're trying to decelerate our growth. But yeah, I mean, it really does seem like the inevitable end of all this AI shit, doesn't it? We've all had fun. This whole thing's just pretty much been exposed as a $1 trillion avatar maker and not much else. Even the most technologically advanced billionaire-funded programs like fucking OpenAI are nothing more than Studio Ghibli recreators.
Yeah.
Which is something that has existed in some form on the internet for 20 years.
We've had filters for a while. This just requires a lot more electricity.
Yeah, companies in general have been pulling back on their investments. Products have obviously failed to materialize. And they only have themselves to blame.
If they'd slow-walked all this...
Could have got a couple years out of it.
If they hadn't threatened to solve all of our problems all at once.
Not only threatened to solve everyone's problems, but threatened to destroy the entire economy.
Yeah.
But by now, you might have noticed that we are just aching to get into some actual political news.
Are we?
No. We're going to do everyone a favor by focusing on another bizarre story that has nothing at all to do with the current presidential administration. Though it does involve an officer-involved shooting, by which we mean a police officer shot someone and then arrested them and charged them with attempted murder for their trouble.
Well, yeah, they were there.
But now our foreign viewers, they're saying to themselves right now, right, well, that's America, innit? Their schools are like the Call of Duty, and their cops, they just shoot people whenever they're not catching Pokemon.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Which, okay, imaginary British person. Okay, Nigel. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But also this time, the cops shot the guy from Weezer's wife.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot the guy from Weezer. They shot his wife, and not Rivers, a different
That's the basis. Yeah. But that's why this is a news story. One of the guys from Weezer, his wife got shot by police, and then she got charged with attempted murder. But it, again, as all interactions with the police, it's not so cut and dry, this one.
So what did she do? Well, she wasn't even involved in the original crime that the police were in the process of investigating. At all.
No.
This wasn't exactly clear from early news reports and headlines, which exclaimed, Weezer guy's wife shot by police and charged with attempted murder.
Sounds very serious.
And there were a lot of headlines like, Weezer guy's wife shot after car chase. I'm like, oh, she led the police on a car chase?
That's wild. Yeah.
There was a car chase. She had nothing to do with it.
No.
Nor was it clear within the articles themselves, which all appeared to maybe be written by AI.
Yeah, they were very poorly written.
Sorry for mentioning AI again, but yeah. It was almost all gibberish. So here's what happened. There was a pursuit. Some suspects bailed from a car and ran into a neighborhood. One of those neighbors in that neighborhood was the bassist of Weezer and his wife, Gillian Lauren, who was also part of a harem for the Prince of Brunei, apparently, and wrote a book about it. That's a tale for a different time.
Just go read her book.
Amazon.com.
Bookshop.org.
Yeah. But yeah, now she is armed. She's checking out the commotion, all the sirens and the screeching and whatnot.
Yeah.
Probably a little nervous about all the shouting and the sirens and helicopters. And she's got her gun. She sees some people.
As an American citizen, she grabs her gun.
So I grab
And
my
it
gun.
is a smaller gun. It's not like she pulled out an assault rifle.
Yeah. She saw some people. She pointed her gun at them, but oops, it's the cops.
Yeah.
And they immediately shoot her in the shoulder, and she is charged with attempted murder for pointing the gun at the cops, which is wild.
Yeah.
But also very telling of the LAPD, who clearly demonstrated that they can use non-lethal force when necessary, but simply choose not to a majority of the time, specifically when the suspects aren't white. Although I wouldn't give them that much credit, they
probably missed.
They're not very good at shooting, and that's why anytime they kill someone, they emptied out an entire clip into them.
That is kind of what's telling about this is, specifically in recent years, anytime you're around the end of a police chase, you have a high probability of getting shot by police. It happened at the Silver Lake Trader Joe's not too many years ago, where people were just in there shopping and cops decided to fucking unload in the grocery store.
Yeah, one of the cashiers was killed.
So, not unreasonable for this woman to be on her own property and be like, what the fuck is going on?
She was also, I believe, in her backyard.
Looking at her, and in her yard, and the suspect was in the neighbor's house, and the cops were coming through all of the yards.
Yeah, I mean, this once again demonstrates that the whole good guy with a gun thing has some pretty major flaws in it, because in the heat of a hectic situation,
you're just going to get shot.
There's no good guys or bad guys with guns.
It's just people with guns. It's just a lot of guns and a lot of fire.
Now, obviously, you don't point anything at a cop, not even a finger, because they are extremely trigger happy.
Yeah.
But also, this is literally the cops' side of the story, because that's where the local news and outlets like TMZ and the New York Post, they get their stories.
Yeah, so the pointing at a cop thing might not even be real.
Yeah.
This is the police.
I would need to see the body cam. But yeah, either way, she was in a super tense situation around cops who are known to shoot innocent people all the goddamn time. And she got both shot and arrested for her trouble. And to top it all off, oh geez, would you look at this? Weezer is due to play Coachella in just a few days.
And would you believe it? They're actually replacing someone who wasn't able to play the festival. So Weezer's going to miss
Who are
the
they
festival.
replacing?
FKA Twigs, who apparently ran into some visa trouble. And I would venture to guess that any visa trouble that's happening right now probably has something to do with the administration.
If you have even a hint that you might have a little bit of trouble coming to the U.S., it's probably best to just call it a wash.
I'm going to the AOC and Bernie Sanders rally on Saturday morning. Neil Young's supposed to play. He's even worried about getting in.
Yeah, he's publicly said, like, I don't know. I'm coming in from Canada.
Anyway, if you're going to be there, say hi. Anyways, so Weezer is supposed to play Coachella this weekend.
So yeah, I mean,
are they going to
the guy's wife not only shot, but charged with attempted murder. Like, facing life in prison, apparently.
Obviously, this is going to ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour.
Except it's not, because she's already been released. The band has confirmed that, look, the show must go on.
We got bills to pay, too.
Listen, a lot of guys' wives are in there. Prison.
Hey, Rivers might be in Beverly Hills, but me, I'm over here in Eagle Rock, California.
Yeah. Anyway,
which is very nice, by the way.
Because it's Coachella, we can only imagine that Jillian Lauren will make a guest appearance on stage or something.
My idea that I thought of was that she should come out dressed as Pee Wee Herman and say, "Heard any good jokes lately?" But only anyone over 40 would, I think, get it. But anyone below
that, not the audience for it.
Anyone who clapped to that, thank you for being old.
I don't know what the average audience for Coachella is these days, but based on the poster and my complete lack of, it's just letters.
That's the thing.
I did the quiz and I recognized, I think, maybe 25 out of like 150 artists.
I feel like Weezer now is obviously a different band than it was in the 90s, but now it feels almost like a Yo Gabba Gabba style band because they've done some cover albums, they've done some stuff with Muppets. Like, it seems like you bring the kids to go see Weezer. They're a very safe rock band.
Weezer is like a brewery.
It's not adults, but the kids.
Yeah, it's crossed over from Gen X and Millennials to Gen Alpha. Gen Z has they managed to dodge that bullet.
Yeah, they're like, every once in a while they cover the kids' ears. They're like, all right, they're singing about a hash pipe. Or they're singing about those Japanese girls. You know how Rivers loves them.
Half Japanese girls.
Sorry, half Japanese. Yeah, we all love Pinkerton, Elliot.
Anyways, with the official story on all of this, here's NPR.
Los Angeles police have booked Jillian Lauren, an author and the wife of Weezer bassist Scott Schreiner, on suspicion of attempted murder after an extraordinary sequence of events that included officers shooting at and wounding Lauren in the yard of her home. Lauren suffered a non-life-threatening injury when she was shot. Her husband was not involved in the incident. She was released on bond Wednesday, and a court date has been set for April 30th, according to police records. They obviously talk about the original chase, which she, again, was not involved in at all, and how it ended up in her neighborhood with one of the suspects entering the property near her. When officers reached the backyard of a house where the suspect was seen, they saw a woman, later identified as Lauren, holding a pistol in a neighboring yard.
The officers ordered Schreiner to drop the handgun numerous times. However, she refused, the news release said. Schreiner then pointed the handgun at the officers, and an officer-involved shooting occurred. Lauren was not involved with the hit and run, police say. But because of the encounter with police in her yard, she was absentee booked for attempted murder. As for the hit and run crash, one of the three suspects was detained, cited, and released by California Highway Patrol.
All right, job well done. Bake them away, toys.
I'm really curious because this case obviously is going to get a little bit more attention than it would if this was just some person and not the wife.
Oh, she's absolutely getting away scot-free.
Absolutely, but I'm really curious to see how much of the police version of events is just a flat out fucking lie.
Look, it could be 100% true. It could be 100% false. It is a fascinating kind of thing because this will actually get the attention.
Yeah,
and the body cams
I
and
just
stuff.
have a lot of trouble believing that they saw a woman holding a gun. They repeatedly told her to drop the gun, and then she raised the pistol
At
to
them.
point it at the police, and then they shot her exactly once.
By the way, in the house was like her kid and the babysitter. So it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it was that she was like under any kind of like she was protecting her family and her property. If this
Yeah.
was Florida, she'd be completely within her rights, I would assume.
Yeah, obviously not victim blaming here, but this is just one more reason why, even if you have a gun, the best thing you can do in any situation where you're not sure of, but it seems like criminality is happening and police are around, is stay the fuck inside your house.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, it is. It's the good guy with the gun fallacy is just that. It is that. But while this won't interrupt Weezer's plans to play the music festival known as Coachella, have you ever said thank you to another big and totally real music festival lately? Because it's time to start saying thank you for some news. Because we are, of course, talking about Fyre Festival 2.0.
Oh,
The ultimate festival experience where you and your friends can finally be a part of a viral moment, get featured in a documentary about the rancid conditions, and end up in endless litigation that results in a meager settlement while the locals who were exploited get nothing. Aren't you ready to sign up?
Well, it doesn't sound very fun the way you explain it.
It's the experience, Elliot.
Yeah.
Kids these days, well, actually, I would say before this week, there's like, they didn't have their own recession. Sure, they had a pandemic, but they have to buy their hard experiences.
Yeah, they do.
So this is their chance.
So Fyre Fest is back, or so says Billy McFarland. And if you're not caught up, no, we're not catching you up on the original Fyre Fest. There's multiple documentaries and I believe books. You got a lot of catching up to do that we're not going to help you with. But the sequel has already been off to a predictably rocky start. And without going through the entire timeline, let's just say, as of a few weeks ago, the local tourism board in Mexico, where Fyre Fest 2 is supposed to take place, hadn't even heard of it. With The Guardian reporting at the time, alarms raised over legitimacy of Fyre Festival 2, an event that does not exist. We have no knowledge of this event, nor contact with any person or company about it. Edgar Gasca from the Tourism Directorate of Isla Mujeres told them, "For us, this is an event that does not exist." In response to that article, Fyre Fest founder and convicted felon Billy McFarland decided to post proof that he had done his due diligence on Instagram, where he uploaded permit documents for the event. Except, as people quickly pointed out, those permits were for small clubs that would hold less than 300 people.
And also, no live performances allowed. So it sounds like people called his bluff and he said, what's the cheapest way I can come up with some permits related to something in the area?
Yeah. Here's Consequence of Sound with more.
Last week, Playa del Carmen became the second location to deny involvement with Fyre Festival 2. Over the weekend, festival founder Billy McFarland and fellow organizers posted documents on Instagram as proof they were working to lawfully host an event. In news that should surprise no one, however, the permits for said event appear to authorize little more than a multi-day listening party. The documents included an initial permit dated March 18th, authorizing Fyre Fest 2 to take place at Martina Beach Club with a maximum capacity of 250 people. It approves only 12 total hours from midnight to 4 a.m. each day between May 30th and June 1st. Not only that, the festival hasn't even received permission for live performances. The operating permit issued on March 26th only authorizes música grabada, or recorded music. As further proof that Fyre Fest 2 isn't happening, tickets are no longer on sale at its official ticketing partner, soldout.com. Folks, we hate to be the bearer of bad news, but once again, they got you.
Yeah, I wonder what this means for all of the true believers who cashed in on Fyre Fest 2 the first chance they got.
Look, as long as you get your wristbands and your flight is booked, it is your duty to go down to whatever town this is happening in at the last moment, wherever Billy McFarland says it is, wherever he's going to do a guerrilla concert at the last minute. And it is your job to show up there and eat the worst sandwich you've ever had. Except, unfortunately for you, based on where this seems to be taking place, the food's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, this is Cancun. Like,
Yeah, you're probably not going to have a bad meal unless you go to the Hard Rock Cafe.
It seems like it would have been not difficult to actually
do it the right way.
To actually do this the right way.
People do it all year long.
Cancun is set up for this exact sort of thing.
That's what's funny about the first article from The Guardian, because the people that would be in charge of a music festival like this they responded, and you would assume that in their hearts they're saying, well, we would love a music festival to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one's done anything.
Yeah, like it's not like they wouldn't be into the idea if it was actually happening.
What do you mean 20,000 rich Americans coming here to spend a bunch of money? And yes, of course, please. Where is this Billy McFarland guy?
So look at that. We made it all the way to the ad read with no politics. Can you believe it? Thank you, Billy McFarland.
Yeah, he did it.
And thank you, artificial intelligence.
Sure.
Anyway, folks, we got a sponsor for this week's mashup of Weekly Weird News Dump, and that sponsor has the fuel that we need to write and edit these episodes, because today's episode is brought to you by Huel.
Huel.
Constantly on the go? Or are you like us and sometimes work so late that you forget to eat? Well, Huel, spelled H-U-E-L, is here to save your appetite and give you the nutrition you need to thrive. Their Black Edition Ready to Drink is a complete meal in a bottle, full of 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and low in sugar, all in one handy bottle. Huel is the global, complete nutrition brand with over 500 million meals sold. You can find Huel in GNC stores, on Amazon, or directly at Huel.com. And for new customers shopping at Huel.com, you can try it for 15% off, plus a free gift using our exclusive code NEWSDUMP at Huel.com.
Huel has what your body needs from a meal, and it takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. It's for your most inconvenient meals. It has no prep, no cooking. So say goodbye to getting hangry and just those unsatisfying snacks. Grab a Huel instead. They taste so good. Huel shakes actually taste like a milkshake, and they come in delicious chocolate or vanilla. Chocolate, my personal favorite. Probably going to be drinking one while I edit this. Also, bonus, they're low in sugar. And lastly, Huel is incredibly affordable with high-protein meals less than $5. It is a budget-friendly option that we are genuinely excited about. And of course, our personal favorite is that Black Edition Ready to Drink, because it's got those whopping grams of protein and all those vitamins and minerals in one handy bottle. Access to quality, quick, and easy meals hasn't been this easy since ever. So join the community of Hueligans with this exclusive offer for new customers of 15% off plus a free gift when you use our exclusive code NEWSDUMP at Huel.com/newsdump. That is 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using our code NEWSDUMP at Huel.com. Please see the description for terms and conditions. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
Okay, back to the news, and we're going to once again combine Weekly Weird News and News Dump, because I'm going out of town.
Mm-hmm. And my dad's coming into town in a few days, so there's a lot of moving parts going on. So thank you for letting us.
We will obviously return early next week with more episodes, but since Trump hasn't done anything dumber than what he's already done all week long, we're also going to give you a slight break of us talking about him.
Yeah.
The latest, though, is that his reversal of tariffs only worked temporarily, and the market continued to crash on Thursday of this week. What? Which certainly does not bode well, because he just used up what appears to be his only bargaining chip.
Yeah, and it technically used it twice this week.
Yeah.
First was Walter Bloomberg, then the real Trump one, and now what?
Plus, the price increases, they haven't really hit yet, and other countries are simply refusing to buy our products or visit our tourist locations. Certainly, one of these will have an effect on the greater economy as we revert back to the dark ages.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening regardless of these tariffs that is going to have a lot of effects down the line.
Yeah. But if there's one person on Earth who knows how to weather a storm, it's Laura Loomer and her gigantic rictus face, which also doubles as an umbrella.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Laura Loomer.
Yeah, so after getting a bunch of people fired from the Trump administration just, last week,
Yeah.
and then facing a storm of criticism from Republicans and Democrats alike, Loomer did what she does best. She created a bunch of made-up enemies, portrayed herself as a victim, and then somehow also the hero of her own fantasy, where she blocks out the haters with solid investment advice.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah, so we're just going to show part of the video that she released because it is bizarre.
It feels almost AI generated, but I think that's just how she is.
Well, all of the voices and script are AI generated, but her voice also seems AI generated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like her voice and the way her face moves, it feels like one of those avatars that you would use to represent you in court.
Yeah, I was shocked by the clearly obvious face voices when I was listening to it. So her voice, at least matching with her mouth, was like, okay, but it's still uncanny valley.
Yeah.
And it feels obviously like a horror movie. I mean, it looks like Jigsaw just rolled in and started filming in this fucking living room. I'm sorry. Here you go.
Laura Loomer has been canceled. The President of the United States has refused to take her phone calls as he suspects she is soon to be arrested.
Is Laura Loomer the most hated person on planet Earth? We want to hear from you, the listener, and get your opinion on whether or not...
Man, I tell you, I heard she got canceled. We coming for you, bitch. We coming to your house, Laura Loomer. We know where you live.
Why are you not panicking?
Because I called Kirk Elliott Precious Metals, and I learned how adding gold and silver to my portfolio is one of the safest ways to not just grow my finances, but to also protect them from the uncertainty of the future.
Anyways, we do have one more glimpse at the horrors that you need to know about before we have some fun with the headlines. Remember that gay Venezuelan makeup artist who was mistakenly sent to a Salvadoran prison despite not being involved in any transnational gangs or terrorist organizations or just crime in general?
Yeah, or committing any crime.
Well, it turns out that some piece of shit ex-cop was the one to seal his fate. A cop so bad at his job that he got fired from a position that has qualified immunity. That is fucking wild.
Yeah.
But like a lot of ex-cops, he ended up as a prison contractor and eventually came across the file of Andre Jose Hernandez and shipped him on down to El Salvador for no goddamn reason. Probably because he needed to hit a quota and just I need 50 Salvadorans.
Yeah,
right now.
what this story actually exposes is that there's government contractors that are just stamping these things with no oversight, and then ICE gets it and goes, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Because they're counting on this chain breaking down so that all of them can place the blame somewhere else.
Yeah, and this is we just talked about this in our last episode. They want a lot more of this. They
This
want
is the
the
point.
actual government to have as little involvement in this as possible because the private sector always figures out a more efficient way to do things.
They're going through a lot of rubber stamps, and they're going through a lot of ex-cops.
So here's USA Today with this guy's background and what happened to Mr. Hernandez.
A report approved by the police officer turned prison contractor claimed the Venezuelan man was a member of the notorious gang Tren de Aragua. But the credibility of Charles Cross Jr., who signed the report, was so bad, prosecutors flagged him on a list of police who had been accused of lying, breaking the law, or acting in a way that erodes their credibility to testify in Milwaukee County. Cross was fired from his position as a Milwaukee police sergeant in 2012 after driving his car into a family's home while intoxicated.
Jesus Christ.
At the time, Cross was also being investigated for claiming overtime he allegedly hadn't earned. Earlier misdeeds had landed him on the Milwaukee County Brady List, a compilation of law enforcement officers deemed by county prosecutors to have credibility problems. But they weren't enough to keep him from making life-altering decisions about gang affiliations and migrants at an immigration detention center in California.
This is a big problem is bad cops, like even the really, really bad ones, never have any trouble finding new employment either at another police department or in the private sector adjacent to law enforcement.
Especially in the government contracting and prison sector, because a lot of bad cops move there, and then when they see someone in need, bring in their buddies. It is a very fraternal kind of thing.
A fraternal order, if you will.
Yeah, some might say.
Today, Cross, 62, is one of the private prison contractors helping to identify Venezuelan migrants as members of the criminal outfit Tren de Aragua, a designation that's landing them in a Salvadoran prison without due process. Putting that responsibility in the hands of government contractors raises serious concerns, said John Sandweg, former ICE acting director under the Obama administration, given that the government is using the suspected gang link as the sole reason for deportation.
And that guy's the deportation king saying that.
Yeah.
Obama gets no thumbs up. He deported a lot of people, and so did Joe Biden. So when you have the guy that's Obama's fucking deportation guy saying that this is fucked up, you should believe it.
Yeah, when the former director of ICE is like, whoa, too far. You've gone way too far.
Yeah.
People are being rendered to a torture prison on the basis of these flimsy and inaccurate determinations, said Heidi Altman, vice president of policy at the National Immigration Law Center, an advocacy group. Using private prison contractors to make those determinations is just another level of recklessness. Reached by phone, Cross deferred all questions to Cork Civic headquarters, Ryan Gustin, a CoreCivic spokesman, wouldn't comment specifically on Cross's case, but said in a statement that all employees clear a rigorous federal background clearance process and must be approved by ICE before being employed at an ICE contracted facility.
Well, then I guess you fucked up there too.
Well,
I guess you guys are fucking up all over the place.
or they don't fucking care.
Yeah, that's the real issue. They don't care. But if you took him at his word, you would say, well, there seems to be a lot of problems happening here. A lot of problems with vetting, whether it's your employees or the people that we're shipping down to a fucking prison. So for a little more background on this guy who sealed the fate of someone escaping persecution and violence, by the way, in 2007, he received a misdemeanor conviction after kicking in the door of the apartment he shared with his girlfriend and threatening to kill himself with his service revolver, according to court records. In 2012, Cross was arrested again after driving his car into the side of a house, court records show. His blood alcohol level was more than double the legal limit for driving. He couldn't walk straight. He was talking nonsense like, highways here, Nina Krasik, who was in the home with her 3 children, told Fox 6 TV at the time. I'm like, no. After an internal investigation, Cross was fired from the force in October 2012. He appealed and later resigned. 4 months later, he was hired at CoreCivic. God. And this is just rotten down to the core because of course it is. These mistakes, these tragedies, they're seeming intentional.
Yeah.
Why else would you put this guy in this position other than to have him be someone who makes mistakes like this?
Yeah.
Or who has no problem hitting that stamp because he's been given a lifeline by apparently some friends.
Yeah, again, this would have all showed up on a background check, so they saw what he did, and they're like, perfect.
In fact, it was a bonus because if you don't stamp the paper, you don't have a job. So this guy's clearly going to stamp the paper.
Yeah, we don't want to hire people who follow all the rules.
You either stamp the paper or you're putting the fries in the bag. But now we have to try to calm down. We have to somehow shift and lighten this mood with a couple of weird headlines.
Okay, good.
That's right. It's News Dump. It's Weekly Weird. It doesn't matter.
Weird
it doesn't,
dump. Weird dump.
No one owns us but you, the viewer. So it's Weekly Weird News Dump. So if you'd like to contribute to the channel and become an owner of the channel, please consider clicking the join button today because that $5 a month goes a long way when a whole bunch of you come together. All
It's
right?
a much better investment than anything you could do on the United States stock market.
That's right. So here you go. Here are some of the wildest, craziest, and weirdest headlines from around the world this week, starting with...
U.S. defends tariffs on remote island of penguins and seals.
and yes, they defended tariffing the...
We meant to do that.
Yeah, they said that if they...
Fuck them penguins.
If they had left anyone off the list, then other countries would clearly just ship all of their goods through the countries that were left off the tariff list, and that way they could get everything in the United States for cheaper.
Yeah, that makes sense. This uninhabited island that was gonna handle just all this new trade.
Yeah, they didn't elaborate on
They were gonna
how
build a megaport down there.
Yeah, how a secluded island would do this, but that was the fear, and the fear was real.
Yeah, well.
And if the fear's real, that means it is real. Because as Trump has pretty much indicated, if he believes it hard enough, it is real.
If you believe it, it's real. It's still real to me, damn it.
And if you believe it hard enough, it's going to take a full week and 2 days to get Trump to reverse his decision because he actually believed that those tariffs were going to work.
I think he still does.
Yeah, and he's probably pissed that the market tanked after he reversed it too. He's probably screaming.
Well, it's because
Elon was right. You are dumb as a bag of rocks.
It's because there's 125% tariffs on China.
Yeah, our biggest
where we get all of our stuff. Like, of course, we're not in the clear at all.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's even worse.
Next headline. Police escort woman off flight after she is unable to pay for Pringles.
Wait, what, did she eat one before they asked for the money?
Now, Elliot, of course, the problem is once you pop, you cannot stop.
That's true.
If you don't pay for the Pringles in advance, there's no stopping someone from eating that entire can.
I don't understand how did she get Pringles before paying for the Pringles?
Well, when you're on a plane and everyone's trying to be nice, they come by. Oh, you want the Pringles, miss? Yeah, here you go. All right, let me get the card reader out. And so it's actually worse than that. She just didn't have cash, which is a totally normal thing, I would feel, on a plane especially. But, of course, this is Ryanair. Everything costs money. Everything doesn't work. Please just give us a couple coins.
I'm surprised they had Pringles on a Ryanair flight.
They probably cost like $20. She apparently didn't even make a fuss. The card reader was broken. She tried to pay. She couldn't pay. The card reader was broken. So the people on the plane, the Ryanair representatives, called the police on her. The police, to their credit, because this is the UK and not America, they didn't shoot her. They said, oh, this is stupid. You're free to go.
Okay. Well, did the plane at least go where it was trying to go, or did they have to like
This
reroute the plane?
This happened when they landed, so I'm sure it like delayed some stuff. But no, to their credit, the police were like, "All right, then, this ain't no Russian map, eh? We ain't gonna shoot anybody." And then they fucking.
This isn't Call of Duty.
Yeah. I know it's an airport, but this isn't no Russian mission.
Anyway, Florida teacher loses job for calling student by preferred name. Oh my God. What?
And of course, this happened in Florida, obviously. And because it is in Florida and because of how Florida is, the law states there that this teacher needs permission from any student to use their preferred name. And if the student cannot give permission without signed admission from the parents.
Yeah, that's because like, I mean, growing up in the 90s and you got like 47 Jennifers in your class.
Yeah.
And 15 Michaels.
Yeah.
Obviously, teacher has to like be like, okay, anyone got a nickname? Help me out.
Yeah.
And like that, ever since I
Even
started,
that, yeah.
like that's all I think about when I hear about this like preferred name shit is like it's very normal for people who either share a name with multiple other people in the class or in a lot of cases might have a foreign name that's difficult for other people to pronounce and they maybe have a nickname that's a little easier.
Nope.
That's a preferred name.
Nope. Got to get parents' permission. And if you don't, you get in a lot of trouble. And, you know, luckily, and it always seems to be the teachers who get, you know, fired for this dumb bullshit always seem to be the best ones at their jobs. Literally so good. You know how hard it is to get a class of students to fucking like you? Well, let alone be receptive to what you're teaching?
You know, treating your students with like the level of respect, basic respect of like calling them by the name they'd like to be called by.
Yeah. I guess it goes a long way.
That does signal that the teacher is probably decent at their job.
So they've
got to go.
Thousands of people have signed the petition to get her job back, and numerous students have come out and given statements about how wonderful. Obviously, like this is the sign of someone who has empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
So they got to go. They got to go.
Gotta go.
Ugh.
Following sarcastic Hitler remark, Michigan council member resigns.
What was
the remark?
I was just joking that I was a Nazi. So it was. We should just read from the article because it's pretty bold, and immediately he's like, oh well, you know, I didn't mean it.
Like what are we talking about here? Was it like one of those?
He said the full HH.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can't do that.
A Chelsea city council member has resigned after facing backlash and issuing an apology for saying Heil Hitler in what he characterized as a sarcastic comment at a meeting.
What was the context that would call for that?
Just going to read the quote. As I committed to you in my apology, I accept your decision to censor me, Bill Ruddock said in his resignation letter to the city Tuesday, April 8th. I do not want to be a distraction to the great work of the council, and I hereby resign my seat effective immediately. The night prior, Ruddock uttered Heil Hitler in response to a resident who made public comments criticizing the city's stance for asking people their immigration status.
Okay.
So someone was like, hey, I don't really like that the city's going to be asking everyone for their fucking immigration. Kind of sounds like they're asking people for their papers.
Yeah.
And some guy literally said fucking Heil Hitler to that.
Yeah, not the...
And then said he was being sarcastic.
Response.
Okay, well, what was the sarcasm?
Yeah, I don't even like, what's the joke?
Yeah. You're doing the actual Nazi thing right now, but now you're saying you're sarcastic.
Because people are complaining. They're like, this feels a little fashy. And then your response to that is Heil Hitler. It kind of sounds like you like how fashy it is.
Yeah. And also the fact that you resigned leads me to believe that you know that it's bad.
Well, it's fine. He'll have a job contracting for ICE by the end of the week.
He's getting that rubber stamp before you know it. Trump escalates feud with low water pressure by signing executive order targeting weak and worthless showerheads.
He's been on about this for like 9 years at this point.
It's the gas stoves, it's the shower heads, it's anything that isn't like
just toilets. You got to flush it 2-3 times.
Something that is just an absolute abuse of our natural resources. I like specifically the showers because I know you guys are wasting time in the showers. Everyone does it, but like, come on.
Not me. I'm in and out.
I'm in and out most times. There's some times when I need to have a little emotional moment in there, you know? Get your alone time, get it out.
I guess.
Sing a little loud.
Anyway, here's what Trump said.
Yeah.
I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. You have to stand under a shower for 15 minutes until it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
This motherfucker has never not taken a perfect shower in his life. It's always been the highest pressure, most perfect gold-plated
Let's
shower
see a
head.
picture of this man's shower.
Yeah, it's probably got panels all over it that just cover him in
I
water.
refuse to believe that this man is not taking the best showers anyone's ever taken.
Now, having said that, I would believe that the White House shower heads probably fucking suck.
Yeah, that's probably
Remember when we went, I forget what movie it was, but they sent us to England and they put us up in like some fancy American hotel where all the American diplomats stayed. It was the worst place I've ever stayed in my life. There was standing water in the tub.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So maybe it is bad. I don't know. But folks, it's not the issue that is going to destroy your life. There are other things to focus on. It is especially funny that he is doing this amidst the worst market crash in 5 years. So, yeah, it is, like he says, ridiculous, but for different reasons.
Woman called AAA during standoff to fix tire police had just spiked, report says. Hello? I'm in a bit of a situation here.
You don't need to know the details. You just need to know that I got a flat tire. I need you to get here right.
I need four fresh tires.
Yeah, I don't need them to be reinflated. I need 4 brand new tires.
Where are you? I'll come to you.
These bad boys are shredded. And no, do not ask how. Yeah, we're just gonna, again, it really sums it up here. About 40 minutes into the ensuing standoff, police say Martinez called AAA to get her tire fixed. The affidavit says the roadside assistance company transferred the call to the police, who in turn transferred the call to a trooper at the scene.
Oh, she gave too much information.
That's the problem. You got to wait till the guy gets out there and fixes it before you say that the cops are there for you.
I mean, how would that? It takes a little while to change.
That's what the
change
standoff
the
is
tires. So
yeah. You got to call in a bunch of crazy things like a football helmet filled with cottage cheese and a tow truck for your car.
yeah.
Yep.
Vice President of Bikers Against Child Abuse arrested for sex crimes against children.
I mean, that's not so much a weird, that's definitely not a funny headline. It's just a headline that is totally expected. At
It
this
is
point
it's a real trend that needs to be studied, but it is, we see it again and again, is that obviously most normal people are against child abuse.
Yeah.
But people who doth protest a little too
people
much,
who make it their entire personality.
there's often a reason they're compensating for their own dark thoughts, it would seem.
Yeah. Man, 71, arrested after 7 emotional support tigers found in his house.
That's a few too many tigers, I'd say.
Maybe just one short of the emotional support he needed, though. Some would say.
I mean, listen, if you can live with 7 tigers, every day is a gift.
Yeah.
You could die at any moment.
Maybe that is what he was going for.
That gives
like
you a new lease on life.
You know, you have that, like, if you have like a near-death experience once, you're never going to catch that high again.
I just wonder, like, 7 tigers, your grocery bills are going to be insane.
Well, if you were taking care of them properly, which this guy clearly was not.
Well, I'm saying, like, just food in
Yeah,
general.
I know.
Because
Just to keep them alive.
if
would
you
be a
don't
lot.
feed them, they are going to kill you.
Yeah, and
they're
eat
going to
you,
eat you.
Yeah.
So even if he's feeding them, like, garbage, it's going to add up. And
Yeah,
they
well,
eat a lot. They
Joe
eat
Exotic
a lot.
got it done somehow.
He dumpster dived. That's how he did it.
guy
Maybe
might have
this
done
guy
the
did the
same,
same thing. Hawk that terrorized tall, bald men for weeks was hormonal, Falconer says.
Put on a hat, fellas.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why Tim Pool wears that beanie.
yeah, he had a bad experience with a bird of prey.
I don't think he's tall, though. I don't know.
It would be weird if he was. I recently met a YouTuber who I'd seen before, and I was
Shocked at how tall.
flabbergasted that he was like pushing 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I would have never gotten that.
Same with
from
Hassan.
the videos I've
very
seen.
tall.
Well, he seems tall.
This
This other
he always
person,
seems short and stocky.
this other guy did not give off tall vibes, and I met him in person. I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Absolute unit. Look at the size of this.
I met a lumberjack like last Thanksgiving sometime around then, and he was a giant. His wrists were giant. His hands were giant. There was something in that family bloodline because his dad showed up late to the party, and his dad was as big as he was, and it was just like
Big boy season.
it was crazy. I was shocked. I'd never seen like hands that big.
Yeah.
And for them to be lumberjacks too, I was like,
It's
"Are you
the perfect
is this a
job.
put on?" Like,
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
I mean,
but
what else?
they brought like this really nice firewood from their property to this party.
Yeah. Cut it themselves.
They did.
And then Jeopardy's got that big lad.
Yeah, the guy that's currently winning. He's
Big boy
big
season.
boy. Yeah, it's big boy season.
But if you're a big boy and you're bald,
Watch out for Hawks.
put on a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for them boys.
Speak about big boys who are probably scared of Hawks. One just got the ability to shoot one back. So that's Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson to have his gun rights restored by Justice Department.
Yeah, we talked about this a little while back.
Because before he was like asking for it,
he has
petitioning for it.
domestic violence convictions, and they don't give you your guns back. It's like one of the few common sense gun rules we do have on the books is if you've been caught beating up your spouse or girlfriend, you're not allowed to have guns because you've demonstrated a pattern of behavior that makes it significantly higher likelihood that you're gonna shoot someone on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's Mel Gibson, and
he appealed to the federal government, and they said, "Hey, you're such a nice guy. We love that Braveheart movie. Here you go," which is something that does not happen.
They got to give it to him because, as we've heard, he is now in charge of the Hollywood.
Oh yeah, whatever happened with that?
Basically, Trump looked at the Expendables movies, and he was like, "Hey, those big tough guys. Things would be a lot better if they were in charge."
Stallone, John Voight, and
Mel Gibson. Stallone, I think, is the only Mel Gibson gets work, but he's the Tulsa King now. He's a little busy.
Yeah.
And final headline: Republican senator floats using violence against journalists who report fake news. And that Republican senator is Markwayne Mullin.
Oh, he's a big MMA guy. He's always threatened to take it outside.
Yeah. Well, hey, take this outside.
What kind of violence is he talking about?
I think that he's probably leaving that open to interpretation.
Well,
intentionally.
In that case, maybe don't fucking do that.
Yeah, I would say that's a
good.
really bad sign.
Yeah, that's
especially for a sitting senator.
I feel like that's worthy of being censured.
Yeah,
but they won't.
Nah. Anyways, we'll be back early next week for some more news, but that was your rundown of everything that we had to talk about today, including some weird headlines. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. Please like the video. Please. It's the only way to help this channel out. Like the video, click the join button, leave a comment, talk about anything we spoke about today or what you're up to this weekend. If you are, for some reason, going to be at the AOC Bernie rally in LA, I will be there. I'll also be taking some photos and videos on the old Instagram and Blue Sky pages. I'll leave a link down in the description below so you can follow me there. Should be a fun time. I'm really hoping to see Neil Young. What an experience that would be. Shake hands with AOC and Bernie. Probably not going to happen, but a boy can dream.
Yeah.
So follow me there and watch along. In the meantime, we have other videos for you to watch, of course. We've got, a roller coaster of a week. You can watch the down, you can watch the up, and you can watch wherever the hell we are now, because by the time you're watching this, it's Friday and anything could happen.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.